Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a review of the Hunger Games prequel, Hunger Games 4, which is a ballad of songbirds and snakes. So this is essentially a prequel for President Snow before he got into office, essentially. So obviously I've watched Hunger Games trilogy 1 to 3, really liked it. So yeah, it was something I was excited about, immersing back into that world of the Hunger Games. We're learning about President Snow's backstory. So, yeah. So overall, I really enjoyed it. So it was, yeah, it was. I thought it was really interesting going back into that world, seeing what innovative things they could add onto it, and sometimes it was quite quirky. Like I think Viola Davis's character is quite quirky. Some of the snakes they added in was quite quirky. So I liked the little elements they added in. So about the story, so part one is about essentially the games. So they've been doing the annual games are fairly new in this story, so they're just kind of finding their feet within the annual games, and so you get to see the side of the games from the point of view of obviously the bad guys essentially. So you get to see it from their point of view, like how they organize it, what do they think about it, and actually, yeah, actually surprising. There's people are quite conflicted about it. So especially, yeah, some of the characters that you may not think are are good, but at the end they turned out to be good in the end. So yeah, so part one is about the games, how they organize it. Part two is essentially the games, where the two main characters, which is President Snow and Rachel Zegler's character, where they essentially, yeah, essentially get together. They help each other. President Snow's character helps Rachel Zegler's character to essentially win the games, help her survive, win the games, essentially, and they essentially fall in love during the games and during that process. And so a lot goes on, and President Snow's character essentially cheats in the games. I won't go into the details, but he cheats in the games, and then he becomes a peacemaker, which essentially is like a soldier within the Hunger Games world, essentially. So he becomes a peacemaker in District 12, which is where Rachel Ziegler character lives. They kind of, it's almost gonna go into a story of happily ever after, but obviously there's going to be some sort of conflict or some kind of U-turn, because obviously President Snow turns evil in the end. So essentially something happens, and people get killed off, and essentially Rachel Zegler's character and President Snow's character kind of split off. And this is something I didn't buy too much. So I understand they have a running time of 2 hours and a half, and they've got a really short amount of time to build up the characters, but then split them up. But the way they split them up, that was almost too quick for me, and they just kind of started hating each other almost immediately, like 5 minutes after something happened. So I appreciate if it was a bit more fleshed out in that sense. And then essentially goes on to President Snow kind of becoming bitter, hateful, and then turning into the man he is essentially. So yeah, I did actually really enjoy this film. It was kind of nostalgic, being immersed into that world of the Hunger Games again. However, I did find it a bit too long. Like a running time of 2 hours and a half was maybe perhaps a bit too long. So maybe a bit at the beginning could have been cut out. I really enjoyed the scenes of the battles in the Hunger Games, so that I felt like was really enjoyable. Maybe a little bit could be cut out, but essentially I thought 2 hours and a half was too long for this film. So maybe 2 hours would have been a bit better. But overall, yeah, I did enjoy it. I'd give it probably a B for this. So yeah, overall quite enjoyable. Good to immerse myself in the Hunger Games world, and yeah, recommend it for people looking to get back into the Hunger Games as well. Okay, all right, thanks for watching.